Welcome to this, the inaugural and first annual celebration of the Tricia Antonini Award of the Alberta Blood and Marrow Transplant Program, sponsored by the Alberta Cancer Foundation, as well as the naming and recognition of the first recipient of the Tricia Antonini Award. My name is Dr. Chris Brown, and it is my privilege to be your host and MC for this event on behalf of all the other members of our transplant team. Doctors, nurses, social workers, physiotherapists, pharmacists, dietitians. I know I am forgetting some members, and I apologize to them. We all know Tricia very well. I am the senior physician in the Alberta Blood and Marrow Transplant Program, which is not meant to suggest some formal position of leadership, nor a state of special transplant wisdom. It just means I'm the oldest, and I've been around the longest. So there are a lot of transplant patients that I have known for a very long time. Tricia is one of them. We have known each other pretty much from day one for her 20 years ago. But circumstances have dictated that I became Tricia's main transplant doc many years ago, so we have had each other on speed dial for a long time now. I have tried to be a useful companion for her on a very long and complicated medical journey. Today is all about celebration and saying thank you to Tricia for 20 years of selfless giving to smooth the road for cancer patients who will follow her, for her tireless advocacy on behalf of her fellow transplant patients and cancer patients in general, and for her leadership in the cancer community, locally, provincially, nationally, and across national borders. And all of this she has done for us in the face of a slowly mounting immense medical burden. Leukemia, chemotherapy, transplants, complications, relapses, more chemotherapy, more complications, more transplants, breast cancer, surgery, chemotherapy, metastases, brain surgery, radiation, progressive breast cancer. For us in the transplant program, the creation of this award is a big deal. Despite a 37 or 38 year history as a program and thousands of transplants under our belt, we've never done this before, and I think I can say with confidence that I will never have the opportunity to do this again in my career. You only get to meet someone like Tricia once in your life, if you are lucky. I have decided that the Tricia formula for greatness is the brain of a corporate accountant, the soul of an artist, and the heart of an Antonini. I had prepared a whole bunch more text to help me express the essence of Tricia. However, just over the last few weeks, the Alberta Cancer Foundation has produced a video in Tricia's own words. When you see it a bit later in the program, I think you'll all understand there's nothing left for me to say about the essence of Tricia. As usual, Tricia has done it herself and done it her way. Reading a list of the things that Tricia has done for us would take way too long. It's a really big list. So I'm going to show you this slide. Which is a summary enumeration of the roles and responsibilities Tricia has taken on over these 20 years in order to provide support and advocacy for her fellow travelers on the cancer journey. It's an impressive list, all right, but it doesn't capture the energy, wisdom, and heart that Tricia brings to these roles. However, I'm going to introduce you to some folks who can speak directly to that energy, wisdom, and heart. You'll see that the Tricia effect is at work, whether she is interacting with other cancer patients, medical trainees, frontline healthcare workers, world-renowned cancer experts, corporate citizens, community cancer advocacy groups, or the upper echelons of cancer care leadership in this province. So, on with the show. Tricia first thing I need to do is read a message. I got an email this morning from Dr. Young. Dr. James Young is one of the leading cancer docs at the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York City. I think most of the people in this room know that part of Tricia's cancer care took place in New York City at Memorial Sloan Kettering. And she had the same effect there that she's had here. Dr. Young was, I guess, your primary transplant or leukemia doc, and they have remained close since that time. Jim sent me an email this morning and asked me to read this out. All of us at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York City are honored to have participated in your care and recovery from leukemia. We also remain impressed and humbled by all that you have done so selflessly to improve the lives of others with whom you shared a common path. With warmest best wishes to you, your wonderfully supportive family, and your many dear friends, Jim. I would now like to introduce our first two guests. My nursing colleague, Nancy Giebert, who knows me best through my life, actually, who has held numerous senior healthcare administrative positions both here in Alberta and in Saskatchewan in both palliative care and cancer care, received national awards as recognition of the excellence of her work, and is currently serving as the Chief Program Officer of Cancer Control Alberta. And Dr. Tony Fields, whom I have known personally for 26 years, initially as the Director of the Cross Cancer Institute in Edmonton, and as a mentor to me at a significant number of committee tables we shared in the old Alberta Cancer Board, who currently serves as Board Chair of the Health Quality Council of Alberta and Chair of the Cancer Provincial Advisory Council, and has been a member of the Order of Canada since 2012. I must tell you, as a window onto how such an event as this has unfolded in just a few short weeks, that Tony and Nancy were two members of the Gang of Three, Teresa Radwell being the third member of the Gang of Three, that Nari Ager, whom I'll speak about very shortly, and I first approached to seek help and advice on how we could pull this thing off. And that Gang of Three were the first to enunciate what has become the mantra of this process. When we told them what we were trying to accomplish, they said, "Oh, Tricia, that's a great idea. How can we help?" The administrative obstacles disappeared, the path forward became clear, and the skilled people and resources to make this happen stepped forward. The Gang of Three then proceeded to tell us their favorite amazing Tricia stories. We have piled up a lot of amazing Tricia stories. So Nancy and Tony, please, the floor is yours.
Well, it's such a privilege. They say never again. When Tom Baker had when I retired. Don't tell my wife. My wife isn't here, so I can use the term retired without. Tom Baker had a little ceremony here for me in this very room, and I thought that would be the last time I'd ever be here. But never say never again. It is just such a privilege for me to be here. And to be part of this event in recognition of Tricia, who is someone I could not measure my admiration for her. And just let me say a few words. Now, this isn't about the Provincial Advisory Council on Cancer, but I'll say a few words about that because it will sort of ground the context in which I knew Tricia. So, this was new when, after Alberta Health Services was created, government had said that there would be, because they got rid of the old Alberta Cancer Board and the Mental Health Board and the addictions, that there would be provincial councils on cancer, mental health and addictions, and the latter two got melded into one, but there was a Provincial Advisory Council on Cancer created in 2011, and along with that, and the mental health and addictions, there were 12 geographically defined health advisory councils, and these were seen as entities that would bring the voice of citizens and patients to the highest levels of Alberta Health Services to help shape the policies and practices. And cancer was unique among these because we forged the Advisory Council on Cancer. We actually have a blend of people touched by cancer drawn from across the province, and people who had some professional or business connection with cancer. And I had the curious position because I had helped to forge the terms of reference before retirement, and then I retired and found myself asked to chair the provincial council. And I have to say it was great times. You know, there was no precedent for this, and we, the members of the council, had to learn how to work together and how to deliver on our mandate, which was sort of twofold. Officially and very formally, we reported to the board of Alberta Health Services through the board's Community Engagement Committee. But practically and very valuably, we worked together with the leadership of Cancer Control Alberta, which was the entity that actually delivers the cancer programs within Alberta Health Services. And Nancy is one of the dyad leadership of Cancer Control Alberta. So we were in a position to offer advice on what the muscle people would call a quick trip. What's the word I'm looking for? There's quick twitch. There's slow twitch. Fast twitch. Slow twitch is fast twitch. Thank you. And the fast twitch is actually interacting with people who make things happen. And I'm proud to say that model of having this mixture of people who were embedded somehow professionally with cancer and people who were touched by cancer proved to be effective and valuable. And Trish was a member of this from the beginning. She gave so much to this. I mean, you heard from Chris. I don't think I have ever met another individual whose depth, breadth, intensity, and length of involvement with the cancer system could rival what Tricia has had. And Chris mentioned her mind, that brilliant mind, and so she had this incredible experience, an experience that was as rich in knowledge as that of professionals who dispense treatments, but far richer in experience of what's it like to be the recipient of this. And Tricia brought that from that grounding of experience and knowledge and the overlay of her wisdom and the other attributes that Chris mentioned, her incredible commitment and engagement. And you know, we were humbled to think this wasn't the only voluntary or charitable work that Trish was doing. She was doing other things on the side while she was making such contributions to the pack. And any time that we were looking for a volunteer to do something, she would be one of the first to put her hand up. And you'll hear from Nancy how she became embedded in some of the key operational activities of Cancer Control Alberta and Alberta Health Services. And what you can only hear from me is that I have chaired a lot of things over the years, and I don't know if this is true of others, but you know, you sort of, among your members, you often have one or more bellwethers that when the committee, when you're wrestling with something as a committee, you sort of look to the bellwether you listen, and when you hear what Tricia has to say, then that sort of, you know that you're on solid ground moving forward in that direction. Now I will say that this wasn't true for the PAC, the Provincial Advisory Council on Cancer, but I have been on entities where I also had anti-bellwethers. So when the anticipated objection came up, I would say, oh yes, we're on the right track. But I will speak with confidence for the entire membership of the PAC, a number of whom were here in the room today, and say that Tricia, what she gave us as through our forming and norming and ultimately performing stages is just without measure, Trish. Thank you so very much. And I'm going to have to stop talking because I could just carry on and on. Tricia, you are one of my heroes. I would look to you, and I wish I could convey, but to others, the things that would make more Tricia Antoninis out of us mere mortals. Thank you so much.
I think I should have gone first. It's hard to follow that, so thank you, Tony. It's my honor and my privilege, and I'm very humbled to be here on behalf of Cancer Control in Alberta, for the physicians and the staff and the volunteers and all the patients we serve, to speak to you, Tricia, to your family, to your friends, to your colleagues, and to the members of the Strategic Clinical Network I see in the room, and our PAC members, and many of our staff, and some of our former staff who have touched Tricia, you're in your journey. It's an honor and privilege to be here. We're living, and we've got Tricia implanted in us each and every day. It's your voice. It's the contribution you've made for patients and families, and for keeping us grounded in why we exist and what we do each and every day. I have to tell you that putting patients first has been a very deliberate and a really foundational goal for us in Cancer Control, whether it's delivering care today to those that walk through our doors, whether it's part of the Strategic Clinical Network, the Cancer Strategic Clinical Network, where we're looking at innovative strategies, we're looking at how do we build the best high-performing cancer system in the world, and how can we do that in Alberta. You, Tricia, have been a part of that, and you continue to be a part of that each and every day, because you just implanted a piece of you in each one of us. And you need to know that that will live and be with us each and every day. I do want to thank the Alberta Cancer Foundation and Chris and Nari and Tony and all the work that came together to put this award together. And I will not speak about the award recipient because I know that is part of the presentation today, but we are so honored for the first recipient to receive this award, because again, it exemplifies putting patients first, really showing you, Tricia, what you have meant to us and what you will continue to mean to us. So after I leave work each and every day, I don't do it every day, but I have a piano at home, and I try to write some music and try to take my experiences from talking to staff or physicians, or because to me it's an honor and privilege to be part. And I wrote a song, I'm not going to sing it, but I wrote a song a few years ago related to the cancer journey. And I thought about it today as I was preparing to think about what I was going to say to you, Tricia, and to your parents and to your family and friends. And it really spoke to me, and so I would say that this is my gift to you. That, again, it's something that I think, and I know we will continue to live, the pieces of Tricia that you've implanted in our lives. We may not always know the imprints that we leave, on those that we do touch in the things we do each day. The imprints may be obvious or deep within our hearts, but either way, we make a difference in someone's life each day. We may not always know the imprints that we receive from those that we do meet on this cancer journey. Their imprints may be obvious or deep within our hearts, but either way, we receive these lifelong gifts. Thank you, Tricia, for your imprint.
Tony, Nancy, thank you so much. I have it on good authority that Nancy has a hell of a voice. So, we may call you back up here. Next on the agenda, Tricia has helped us create an award. It's a very important award. And from this phase onward, we're going to focus more on the award and the recipient of the award. And I'm going to introduce you to Tricia Radwell, who's the VP for Program Investment with the Alberta Cancer Foundation, to introduce you to what the award is and how it was created with Tricia. And then we'll give the award. And it's at this point that I have to make a bit of an announcement. And that is that the plan was originally that Nari Ager was going to give the award. And she surprised us all at 11:30 this morning with an email that said, "I'm sick, I gotta go." She's at home. I spoke with her on the phone. I spoke with her on the phone an hour and a half or so ago and said, "What the hell?" But she has given Teresa her speaking notes, and so we will soldier on. But I'll tell you right now that we are here today because of Nari. Nari Ager and I have been warriors in the transplant trenches for 26 years. She's now become the head of the bone marrow transplant and hematology clinics in the Tom Baker. We used to see each other every day. Now we see each other at least every week. But it was Nari who came to me about, I don't know, 6 or 8 weeks ago in the middle of a busy clinic of mine and sort of grabbed me by the collar and said, "Chris, we got to do something for Tricia." And as I was trying to pull away and get into the room, I said, "Yeah," and used the mantra, "That's a great idea." But we then both said, well, "What do we do? How do we do it?" And we really didn't know. Thus came in the gang of 3. Here we are today. But this event today, this whole thing, is Nari's idea. So to have Nari email us and say she's sick, what the hell? So Nari, I wish we had a Beam Me Up Scotty gizmo of some kind here to either all go there or you come here, or I don't know. This just does not seem fair. But she's with us in spirit, and I think she's with us on this video. So we tried to actually set up a FaceTime. She and I, I was in the Docks Lounge, and I was talking to her on the phone saying, "You gotta get here." And so I said, "Well, we'll FaceTime." So I tried to get the FaceTime to work, and she did too, and it failed, and so. Anyway, here we are. So, Tricia Radwell is the VP for Program Investment with the Alberta Cancer Foundation. And I'm going to ask her to come up here and sort of take over at this point and move into the awards part of the proceedings. Tricia?
Thank you. So yes, I'm afraid you're stuck with me for a little bit longer. Before I go actually into the award, I do want to actually speak to the first time that I met Tricia, and I don't know that whether Tricia is actually aware of the far-reaching impact that her words actually had as a result of the first time I met her. So Tricia it was on the Strategic Clinical Network, and I think it's probably about 2-3 years ago. And we were in some airport hotel in a room with no windows, as the SCN meetings seem to always be, and probably a couple of pillars in the middle of the room so we couldn't quite see around it. And Tricia spoke about her cancer journey, and she spoke about all of the ups and downs. She spoke about clinical research and the impact that it had on her experience. Things that had gone from research into clinic, and that she'd actually seen the move across. And it really impacted us greatly. Many of the things the foundation supports are in the area of research. To hear firsthand the impact that that kind of research is actually having is really meaningful. But more than that, Tricia used two words. She used the words "more moments," and even now, I think you might have to stand in for me in a minute. So anyway, I think I might need more. Tricia used the words "more moments." That clinical trials and research had given her more moments. As a result of hearing that, myself and our CEO at the time went back to the foundation and said, "We just heard the most incredible person speak." And they used these words, "more moments." As a result of that, the Alberta Cancer Foundation launched a campaign using the words "more moments." And to this day, we continue to speak about our goal of giving cancer patients and their families more moments. Your impact that you've had as a result of those words is far beyond that hideous room in the airport. It's out there, it's in the province. And thanks to you, we are now hearing from donors, from patients, from clinicians, from researchers, from staff, talking about more moments. And so I want to thank you for that. So moving on from the really cheery stuff into the actual award. So as Chris said, we're absolutely delighted today to be able to speak to the inaugural Tricia Antonini Award. As you mentioned, there was lots of people involved in getting us to this step today, and I want to thank everybody both for their sort of nudges, their "hey, why don't we do this?" And in particular, Chris mentioned that it had been handed over. It was sort of like a relay race, and Chris and Nuri and myself and some of the Alberta Cancer Foundation team have had regular Thursday afternoon calls. Chris is invariably late, and then he disappeared off for 2 or 3 weeks. But we've always been consistent having the calls, which has brought us today together. So I want to say a huge thanks to that team that has pulled this off. So the award is to honour Tricia, an incredible person who has been an unwavering advocate for patients with leukemia, but as we've heard today, all cancer patients. And she's done that for over 20 years. You've heard today about her contribution here in the province and the different roles that she's played. And we thought that as a result of that, it was important that whatever award that we put together recognises that contribution, but recognises the way that patients, and this is Tricia adding to this. When we had a conversation, we had a very short list. We said, no, well, what about this and what about this? Patients, families, staff, friends, organisations, individuals and groups that have had a positive impact on bone marrow transplant patients here in Calgary. Tricia's used the word smooth the road for patients. She used the words, I want to give to honour volunteers that are doing what I've tried to do in 20 years. Moving forward, this award is going to be nominated on an annual basis. It's not going to be a few people that are nominating it. It's going to be everybody that is involved within the BMT clinic. It's going to be the staff, it's going to be family members, it's going to be patients, it's going to be friends, it's going to be everybody that has any connection with bone marrow transplant patients and clinics. Through the year, people can nominate who it is they would like to see as a recipient and why. And then each year we'll go from that and identify who we will select each year. The panel who we actually will use will include Tricia and her family within that panel, as well as Dr. Brown, as well as Nori, I guess probably me too. So it's really going to continue through that, make sure that people who know Trish, and to ensure that we continue to award based on her attributes and what she is looking to achieve. I would like to share a video. One of the things that we've talked about is a digital story, and we are very lucky that we have somebody. Unfortunately, he's not able to be here with us today, who is exceptional at producing these digital stories. I just hope I'm as exceptional in playing them for you all today. He's been working with Trish over the last couple of weeks or so and pulling this together. And so I just want to take this opportunity to play that, and as Chris said, to hear in Trish's words about this award.
In many ways, I am a walking contradiction. An accountant who loves to paint. A traveler who equally loves the busy streets of New York and the peaceful beaches of Maui. A cancer patient for 20 years who has never focused on the fact that I could die at any time. I have always respected the reality that we are not here on this earth forever. I really lived, even before cancer entered the picture. So my story isn't about cancer. It's about life and the moments that matter to me. I was diagnosed with a third recurrence of my leukemia while I was living in New York City, working as an accountant. Through a random conversation with a stranger in a restaurant, I joined a theater company, and am still friends with them today. My time in New York taught me that if you choose to engage each moment, each person, each place, even in random restaurants, you receive paint on your canvas and leave splatters of your own as well. After that third recurrence, despite all the transplants, treatments, and even flesh-eating disease, my parents and I made it to Maui only months after leaving ICU. We have gone back every year since. On that first trip, I couldn't walk down the stairs to the beach, but by the end of 3 weeks, I was snorkeling with the turtles. It was so peaceful. Staring in their eyes was so healing and reminded me that I was part of a bigger world. Between leukemia, breast cancer, and brain metastases, I have spent a lot of time in this building. Unit 57, daycare, Unit 11, the bone marrow transplant clinic. I had moments there too. Moments that went beyond pain and life-saving treatments. Meaningful conversations with doctors and nurses. Moments with people who became friends and helped me make moments outside the building happen. It is difficult to travel now, but I still have so many moments that matter to me. Moments with my family, my nephews, parents, brother, aunt, uncles, cousins, and friends. I still engage each moment, each person, and each place. I want people to know that I have and continue to live a potent life. I've created a Jackson Pollock type of life, and all of the people in my life have contributed moments, paint to my canvas, and I hope I left paint on yours. This award is about recognizing people who are generous with their paint.
So this is where I have to supposedly drop my British accent and bring on the Canadian one, but I'm kind of good at that, so you just have to just imagine. So this is the part of the program where Mary was going to speak, and so as Chris said, I have Mary's words, so you just have to imagine that it's her here and not me when I'm speaking. It's an absolute pleasure and honour to be part of this awards ceremony. My heart is so very full to be part of this celebration, to acknowledge two incredible individuals who have been so generous and so gracious with their time and efforts, and the reason that we are all gathered here today. Tricia, I have known you for 20 years. That's all you have to imagine. I think I can speak on behalf of myself and the team to say that you are truly family. We have journeyed alongside you with your fight against cancer, and despite the many challenges and much adversity, you are a bright star that continues to shine brightly on those around you. You've had an impact on everyone and everything that you touch. Everyone you meet, you have touched in a way that makes them a better person. Everything you touch is golden. Over the past month in planning and spreading the word about this award and event, the word legend and legendary have come up on several occasions by many staff when hearing your name. The first recipient of the Tricia Antonini Award is somewhat of a legend herself. She is well known to many amongst the BMT community of patients across the province and within the BMT team here in Calgary. She is known as the lady with the condos. Elaine Moses became involved with the BMT program in 2006 after her father was diagnosed with cancer. He lived in Drumheller, would have to travel to Calgary for his appointments and treatment. Elaine saw firsthand how difficult it was getting him to travel that distance, and realized that there was probably a need for patients for a place to stay in a comfortable home-like settings for either the short or long-term durations whilst undergoing treatment. It was the intention to share their blessings with others and make a positive difference in the lives of others dealing with health-related struggles. In 2006, a family originally purchased a one-bedroom condo in the Point McKay area, which was centrally located to the Foothills Hospital, TBCC, and the Children's Hospital. And they hosted the first patient family in May 2006 who came from Medicine Hat. Over the past 11 years, Elaine has had the opportunity to have met and hosted 105 patients and families who have been uprooted from the comfort of their homes across Western Canada to engage in treatment at any of those hospitals we have mentioned, with about 85 to 90% primarily involved in receiving stem cell transplants here at the Tom Baker Cancer Centre. In the true spirit of this award, in making the road smoother for patients, there is no one more deserving, and I'd like to invite Tricia up to present the award to Elaine.
Tricia, Teresa, Dr. Brown, Mary in her absence, and Amanda, that I know helped with this event a lot today. Thank you so very much. And in doing so, I would also like to thank the entire staff at the Alberta Cancer Foundation and Tom Baker Center here, who have not only worked hard to organize today's event, but have put outstanding efforts daily into the treatment and diagnosis of far too many cancer patients that are having to deal with the inescapable side effects of cancer from a health perspective and day-to-day living. I can't help but feel that this acknowledgement for me or for our family comes not only at Tricia's expense and sacrifice, but also many others whose lives have been literally turned upside down. I stand here in complete awe of Tricia's immense contribution and what she's endured. I guarantee you that being here is way out of my league and way out of my comfort zone, but it is very much an incredible honor, especially when I think of the immense and the vast resources that the contributors in this city who would be far more eligible than I. I need you to first understand that this isn't about the recognition of our immediate family or myself, but it's rather to honor and acknowledge all those who undergo treatment, sometimes being miles away from their home. Until the day that we're able to build a new cancer center for half the patients instead of double the patients, I think we all acknowledge that there's still a lot of work to be done. Tricia, today this tribute in your honor will undoubtedly stir and inspire the actions of not only the people in the confines of this auditorium, but across the country and well out into cyberspace, provoking people to take a look at their own potential and take a look at their own thirst for life and action. I haven't had the opportunity to spend in Tricia's company, but her blogs, but from her blogs, I certainly feel like I've personally been able to get to know her. Her character stands out as an extremely classy lady who articulates exceptionally well, both in writing and in conversation. She's simply beautiful from the inside out. She's full of presence, inspiring and resilient, grateful and genuine, and overflowing with a spirit and a zest for life that is rivaled by no one. She's admired by many, both near and far, and she treasures her deep relationships and valued friendships. She possesses an infectious personality and has been unstoppable in her ways as a warrior. Through much adversity, her life has been punctuated with contribution and achievement, and yet finds time to enjoy art. Somehow on this roller coaster ride, Tricia's been able to strategically intersperse some travel plans with her scheduled appointments and treatment, while through it all, prioritizing relationships and time to get together with family and close friends. Tricia takes something simple in life and makes it fun and interesting, like her Survivor event that she does with close friends that is alongside the TV series. For me, Tricia's blog stirred all kinds of emotions, from appreciation and hope to optimism and sometimes disbelief. It was clearly evident that both her internal and her external strength had been tested, but was able to cope on account of the unwavering support and love of her parents and family. In her blog, she urged her friends to please do something joyful today, laugh extra hard, and appreciate the mundane. In Maui one year, she commented that it was a perfect start to a new year. I want to plan to be more of who I am, to do more of what I love, and see more of the people I love to see. Yet another post reflects, it's funny how the smallest treasures of life are the glue that keep you together to face the hardest challenges, and we should not be paralyzed by uncertainty. All of these comments speak volumes of her appreciation for life as she chose to live life with intention in the face of adversity. There's a Greek word called Olin, and it's spelt O-L-L-I-N, and it means to move and act with your entire heart and soul. And so I can't think of a better word which would describe best how Tricia embraces all aspects of her life. It's quite likely that only a spreadsheet is capable of managing Tricia's long and dedicated list of support network consisting of family, friends, and colleagues. Tricia, I hope that I am somehow worthy of you squeezing me in on the bottom line of that spreadsheet as your newest member on your team. In terms of where I come from or what drives me personally, there's a phrase that too much is given, much is required. And I also believe that the purpose of life is to have a life full of purpose. Personally, I have a huge sense of gratitude and value for my rural roots and upbringing on a farm. After living in the city since then, we've been fortunate to blend those two worlds in being able to offer some accommodation for out-of-town families, for long-term stays who experience life-altering circumstances. As people, we naturally tend to take our homes for granted and forget that nothing can ever really replace the healing qualities of our own sanctuary that they provide, until we are displaced from them for several months due to a prognosis. And so in that event, we try to provide a harbor, a safe place to tuck into and get out of the storm, where patients and their immediate families can heal and spend time together. We owe a great deal of thanks to healthcare professionals here at Tom Baker, like Nari Yeager, Holly Miner, and Lori Ray, who have been vitally instrumental in connecting us to out-of-town patients and families who require longer-term accommodation for their treatment prognosis. Our family also owes a huge thank you to many, many other people who support us in multiple ways in what we do. Neighbors who drop off gifts for families, people who have purchased and donated houseware items, driven families to airports, lent Christmas decorations and toys, tradespeople who help with maintenance, business colleagues who help with legal or business aspects, errands such as picking up groceries or driving patients to appointments, or even cleaning a unit when a family leaves. By no means is the credit for this due only to our family. I'd like to think that when our families participate in or evidence what goes on in situations like this, that we are able to capitalize on some teachable moments. I personally think that for our own family, Wayne, Brady, and myself, that it's incumbent upon us to share our blessings with others to make a positive difference in the lives of others. But there are also times when I feel guilty that I have not done enough and didn't make a difference, because unfortunately on occasion A parent may be forced to return home without their child accompanying them, or vice versa, as some of you may already know this firsthand. Having had the privilege of hosting out-of-town families, I've seen the need in the city and elsewhere for accommodation on a much larger scale for patient families who come to Calgary for treatment, and hence a huge dream of mine, and to inspire others to perhaps participate in making that happen, causing a ripple effect. About 6 years ago, I was introduced to Kim Walker through the Cancer Foundation, and determined that we each shared some common and varying ideas and goals involving patient support designed to meet the needs of themselves and their families. Now, as a friend and a partner of mine, Kim and I have been working in the background on preliminary ideas and laying the groundwork for a multifaceted patient support project which we hope will unfold in positive and meaningful ways. Reading Tricia's blogs confirm that we definitely identify with her mantra of having more moments for all persons affected by cancer, and we intend to make that happen. To wrap this up, and in talking to Tricia briefly, we talked about her obvious, insatiable thirst for life, which she has, compared to perhaps the complacency of some other people's lives. While I have not previously shared the following words with her, I hope they echo what we both would want to say to you about perhaps our own toast for a thirst for life. May you continue to be surrounded by the love and friendship of family and friends, to always savor precious memories and moments, to be fully present at all times while inviting others to share in your hospitality, to be conscious of the needs of others, seeking to support them as we are able, to do all things with love, to commit to live a life with a heart full of gratitude, cognizant of all our blessings, to be passionate in all that we do, to be open to opportunities for growth, to embrace change and challenges, and to choose to deepen our life with meaning and purpose, to live in the fullness of life with zest, and to be the difference in the lives of others and make a difference in our world. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask that you please rise and join me in our heartfelt applause in honoring Tricia Antonini, a lady who without hesitation has made that difference in our world for each one of us. Thank you so much, Tricia, for sharing the memories and the moments of this day with us. And I have 3 ribbons here, one for you and your mom and your dad. And what they say is, who I am makes a difference.
That was incredible. You're hired. Well, that brings the formal part of this program to completion. Except for some odds and sods, loose ends. This plaque is a permanent part of the transplant program. It will go up outside the transplant clinic downstairs. It's going to remind us, every one of us, about a member of our family forever. When they move us to wherever they're going to move us, to whatever building they're building, this is going with us. Elaine's name is down here at the bottom. We're going to put the year beside it, and it'll be added to each year ad infinitum. So this will grow. Tricia? I love this picture.
That's quite media.
Teresa, what else?
I think that's maybe people like to join us outside.
No. I was going to tell you a personal story, but I will just cry. Tricia, as a last point, we'd like to give you a bouquet of flowers to say thank you so much for allowing us to honor you in this way. And I hope you're not allergic.